Hello
Yeah,
everyone. I welcome you all to the second industry webinar series of the summer internship program powered by Comedkares Innovation Hub. So we are now set to kickstart the second webinar on the topic of how to prototype for digital products, for which we have our speaker for the day, that is Mr. Ravi. We heartily welcome you, Ravi, to the program.
sure. Thank you.
Before we begin, here's something we need to know about our speaker for the day. Uh, Mr. Ravi, he is the head for iCloud,
iCompass. Yeah,
iCompass. Oh, sorry, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I can talk about that. Yeah,
and compliance and operations manager. Previously, he has been with Epsilon and IBM as well as Dell. So welcome you, sir, and we can kickstart our webinar as of now.
sure. All
Yeah.
right.
Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sumesh, for the introduction. So, guys, again, I am seeing a couple of guys who are in front. So, yeah, again, what I want all of you guys to are you also able to see me on other screens? You are able to see me on other screens, or there's only one screen?
Uh, there is only one screen.
Okay, got it, got it. All right. So, yeah, let's talk about the topic today. Today, I'm going to walk you through how we had conceived the product. Digital prototyping is something that will help you to realize your product from uh, an idea to a realization. So, just like an idea to realization is it's a very you have nothing to something solid, right? So what I want you to guys to do is make sure you're having your uh, thought process open. Keep yourself open to understanding. I'll be talking about, hey, let's go to a 10,000-foot view and look at the problem, and then I'll say that, hey, let's zoom it into a specific micro specific problem, right? So what you need to do is think about how you would get in or get out of a system, or look at something at a macro level, and then look at the same thing at a micro level. All right. So I think this whole journey is going to be pretty. I mean, thanks to the guys in Comedkares who are able to set up all of this up, because uh, when we were actually doing this, we did not have guides like Hiteshi I just spoke to, or Sumesh, who are able to actually structure this in such a good manner, right? We had like, hey, we have to do this. Oh, we also have to do this. Oh, we have to also have to do that, right? So that kind of a unstructured uh, unstructured methodology will only delay what is supposed to come. So, without a further ado, I want to start off our journey into how we thought about a problem. What is the research we did? What are the tools we use? And fortunately for you guys, I'm thinking of you guys as young entrepreneurs. Uh, you have you don't have to spend any money. That's kind of a fact. I can almost uh, assure you that you don't have to spend any money for ideas. For the whole the cost for you is your time and your friends' time, whoever you are connecting with, or whoever is helping out in getting this idea together, right? So the capital here is brain power. So if you guys have brains, then I feel uh, because you have brains and you're here, so I'm assuming that you will be able to get through this journey. Okay. All right. So let's start off with what we have done. So before we do anything, one of the first things you do is understand why you're doing it, right? So uh, I don't want to give you my example. Does anybody here have an idea let's say, just give me the industry. So you want to do something for an industry name that you want to give. You guys might have had ideas to create a tool or create an app, right? Give me a name. What industry would you think? Fintech, that is finance or e-commerce.
Yes, Deepak. Give some examples. Yeah.
No. I mean, see, you have maybe have an idea on an app you want to build. That could be on e-commerce. That could be on uh, fintech or whatever you would like to do, right? And that's why you're here, isn't it? All right. So I'll walk you through the journey of how we ideated about this. All right. So as Sumesh pointed out, I have a lot of experience in the operation side of things. And so we had constantly having these issues of, hey, my server is not up to date. My server is vulnerable. Somebody comes to me and says that, hey, I got a phishing email. So we constantly had, as managers, we had to deal with this day in, day out. And that is when we knew that going into cloud was a terrible idea because everything is very fluid, right? That's the whole point of you going to cloud. You are in a public cloud, right? You are utilizing resources from you don't know where, uh, and there is a complete abstraction of the compute power you're using. You guys are still with me, right? And that's why I told you to give me a good good example. Otherwise, I would have taken mine. But yeah, uh, so going back, you are actually having to face a lot of problems, and that's what is the problems that everyone has, right? So what we in our research, what we identified is there are a lot of companies, more than 1 million small startups and businesses that don't really think about security, right? I don't want to delve into it unless you want me to. So let's go forward. Okay, even though, so what happens when you are able to identify an issue? You need to solve it, right? So solving it again is taking too much time. You guys might have heard about uh, a large corporation getting a simple thing wrong and their data was out. Uh, Important healthcare data was out for almost a year, a full year. Their credentials were out and the data was out for the hackers to take up, right? So again, we are talking about a conglomerate, the huge company making small mistakes. We knew that, and again, we understand that this could happen, right? If you're not continuously looking at the problem, continuously looking at the problems, you might have that issue. So uh, one of the things that we understood was there needs to be a platform, a system that actually helps collate all the issues that we are getting. So we are getting vulnerability issues. We are saying that, hey, we are not the emails are not properly safeguarded. So those are the things that we had to work through. Okay, you guys are with me, right? I'm not talking in air, right?
Yes,
All right.
yes, they are.
The
They are.
first two, okay, the first two acknowledged, so I'm expecting all the others also understood. All right. So this is the main problem that we had to solve. All right. And just giving you some scary pictures about what a cybersecurity overall categorization would look like. I would say just look up a mind map for cybersecurity or any industry that you want to work on, right? So let's say you're working on fintech, you'll have a whole different taxonomy or a whole different connections that will come to your industry. Okay, so let me know how that will look like. But what we understood is for each and every problem that there was a different tool that was solving these problems, right? So that's what this slide represents. So I want to talk about at least a couple of these because I'm not sure, I'm not getting any feedback from you. So I don't want to bore you, or I don't want to, again, make sure that my time is also not wasted. I will go through a couple of them. If I'm not getting any responses from you, I'll be moving on. Okay. So I think whatever you understand, even at a smaller scale, that should be okay. All right. So yeah, I want to make this interactive. If it is not, then let's quickly go through something that you will respond to, right? All right. So the problems, I explained some of the problems. So what we thought was, uh, in order to solve these problems, one of the primary things that we understood was uh, understanding environments, compliance, and security posture was essential. Okay. What does posture means? Posture is basically how you sit, right? How you sit, how you portray yourself is generally posture. When you're talking about compliance and security posture, it talks about how well you are on that in that space, right? uh, how well is a product that you like is in that space, right? So we were able to understand that there are some specific guidelines, some regulations in the industry. We have something like ISO 27001 or SOC 2. These are compliances that we knew that existed, right? And then we also knew that we had some cloud providers. Anybody can give me an example of a cloud provider?
Amazon clouds, Google.
Very good. Yeah, thank God there is a response. So Amazon Web Services, right? That's a cloud provider, and what it does primarily is for students, it's really one of the best things that you have. You can just send out an email and ask for credits, and they'll give you credits, right? So, anyways, it basically gives you a platform to launch your application, right? So now uh, you have a very easy way of launching your application. Let's say you understand the whole life cycle of how to build an app. I know that you guys are right now going through Figma, trying to understand how to create mockups. That's actually a very good way to start off. And if you have a, again, Figma is a very good tool for visualization or mockups, but actually we use it even at iCompass. We use it for, let's say we want to create a landing page. We actually ideate in terms of what that could be, right? Let's say if it was a tech summit, we probably want to do something in that area, look for possible customers in that area, and then we mock up or put in the structure together and then create a page. So creating a single page is actually kind of complex. I mean, if you think about it, we want to create or make sure that all your ideas are in one place, right? So that's the website. So if you have a good website, it means that your ideas are all in one place. You are able to structure your ideas and able to tell a problem statement to your customers, whoever is landing on that, right? All right. So we were actually looking at automating those aspects so that it is easier for others or somebody who's using a cloud. And because I'm from the operations background, we do it all the time manually. So we had that uh, technical knowledge as well. And then we understood that there is constant improvement in technology, right? There was VMware with servers coming up, virtual servers, and then there was Elastic Container Services. Containers came in, and then there is Kubernetes right now, right? Uh, we knew that if a small company who's begun their journey on, let's say, VMware, will not be able to upgrade to a container service and then to Kubernetes in a very quick way, right? So again, what I'm talking about is a changing landscape, changing technology landscape. So number one, we understood that we need to solve for compliance and security. Number two, we know that that space is constantly changing. You guys are with me? You had a okay, super. Uh,
Hello.
did you have any questions? You can ask me right now.
Guys, any questions? Yeah, we'll do the Q&A in the end. You have a question, anyone? You
Got
may
it.
ask.
Got it. So I will not again. I'll probably be sharing this deck with you. So just go through this. There are other problems also that we have identified. We had identified. All right. So the next phase was to understand or how to put that into practical. Uh, how to actually put that into a much more way where we could solve it. Right. So again, we looked at different industries that actually did this, right? What is the type of solutions they provided, and who were they connecting with, who are they contacting, and stuff like that. So let's jump into the case study part. And this is the most, I guess, crucial part if you are. Uh, so, uh, from ideation or from the thought process, we understood that there are some things that we need to solve. From there, we started to talk to people. Okay. Again, guys, the most important thing you need to understand, you need to do is talk. Okay. If you are in this session, I'm expecting you to be talking. I mean, not when I am talking, but uh, talking amongst yourself, sharing your thought, right? So right now you are a group of 20, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, they are group of 20
Oh,
people.
so one person, let's say there is one person that has an idea. He has 19 different views he can get right now today. Okay, so that is very very powerful. If you are not able to talk to that person and convince him that hey, this is useful, uh, possibilities are it is not useful for him. Possibilities are it is not useful at all, right? So you probably are talking to a specific this is exactly what we face or the issues we face when we are selling our product, right? What are we trying to solve? For whom are we trying to solve? Unless you know these answers very well, right? The why, first of all, why you're doing it, right? Obviously not for greater good because you probably do something else, but you're trying to do good for a particular sector, right? Whatever that sector that you decide to be. And okay, coming back to this point where what we did is we did an extensive research. We reached out to all the people that we could on our LinkedIn, whoever was a technology person who we knew that they are working on this. We understood that there are some key areas that needs to be there are gaps that can be filled. Okay, so what we understood is in the cloud it is not easy to discover all the assets that you have. Again, I know you might not know about this, but I want you to just just go with me right now. Another issue we understood is there is no cheaper or inexpensive tool that is actually giving you a continuous monitoring. What does that mean? Is I told you about compliance and security. Uh, Compliance and security has to be continuously validated, right? Not every 1 week or 2 weeks or not even in 2 days. It has to be every day or maybe twice a day. Okay, so again, that's our again. I'm very specifically talking about that industry, right? You might not need that in maybe another industry, but yeah, here we need it. Uh, we needed continuous alerting. We wanted to make sure there is cost saving for people who are using cloud, etc. Right? One of the key things, if you look at the term iCompass, you're basically saying infrastructure compliance as a service, right? COMP, that's the compliance piece. The reason why we put that again, naming what your brand is going to be very key for you to sell it later on, right? So you have to bounce your ideas with your colleagues. With I'm sure you have relatives who are in the IT sector. Call them up, trouble them, tell them that hey, this is what I'm trying to do, and what do you think about this, right? You might get a negative feedback, you might get a positive one. Uh, Take that up, put it on a note, make sure that you understanding what that is. any feedback is going to give you a method to contact the right people. That's what we believe in. So we are not heartbroken when we are rejected by a company. They're saying that, hey, this competitor is doing a much better job. We'll take that, we'll put that on, and then see, okay, how can we do that, or how can we better that, or whatever we have the capabilities, how can we actually showcase them better, right? So yeah, use cases of, or even before you are actually going in your starting your uh, coding or starting the actual work, one of the things you should also be doing parallelly as entrepreneurs is talking to people. Okay, so this is how we were able to gather all the use cases. Any specific questions, guys?
So what is AWS and Azure related accounts, cloud accounts?
What is you meant? You said
So
what?
AWS and Azure related cloud accounts.
Okay,
What is it?
so what does it mean? Okay, good question. So when you are asking that question, what it tells me is uh, your cloud computing basics are a bit, you need to sharpen them up. Okay, so uh, in cloud computing, there are primarily two different uh, models. Okay, service model and deployment model. So when you're talking about a service model, you're talking about infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. Okay, so the first one, that is infrastructure as a service, is where they're saying that I will provide you an infrastructure as a service. And that is the AWS. So when you are going into AWS, I initially I said that your students, you have a lot of power. What I meant was you can get into AWS, something called AWS free tier. Okay, and you can create an account, and that is the account where you're going to launch your application. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Again, I'm sorry, I'm being a bit straightforward in saying some things, but again, take it as feedback, learn about cloud computing, learn about the different service and deployment models. And again, it's going to be a win-win situation for you. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. I'm gonna. Sorry. Did anybody say anything, or shall we move on?
Was it?
Okay. Got it. All right. I'm sorry. I'm maybe because I'm old, I'm not able to hear you properly. Yeah, that happens, right? I mean, some of your uh, key capabilities will be lost. All right. So, uh, what you see now on your screen is this is what we thought of when we are thinking, hey, how our login prompt should look like, right? So we have like sizes of, again, this is basically, if you go here, you will find our the template that we are using. But again, this is how it will be. You like a concept, you like the colors, you make sure that you're creating a logo, then all of it will have to follow suit, right? I mean, follow suit of similar colors. Anyways, this is the initial login prompt that we designed. The reason why we are talking about this is whenever you're thinking about starting your journey, right? Let's call it the digital journey of transforming your ideas into a fully functional application. One of the first things is you need to at least visualize what the mockups look like, right? And Figma is an awesome way to do that. That will be very very useful for you. We did this in a WordPad, right? And it works. Even WordPad works, but yeah, this is what we use. I will actually finally show you how we have actually done it right now. It's pretty decent. I'm sure there is a lot of scope of betterment in our tool, but yeah, we are at a decent stage right now. Uh, and yeah, this is for the web application, web app scanner. These are for showing up the compliance related checks. We wanted to showcase that I spoke about compliance, right? We wanted to make sure that The compliance is reported on a daily or a uh, daily basis. It has to show values in terms of what are the different services it had. Again, I'm diving deeper into what I we had done, but again, yeah. If you guys give me an example, I probably can give you an example of how or what are the key matrices you need to be thinking about, right? So yeah. All right. So let me quickly talk about the tools that we use, right? Till now, let's say we used something called draw.io and Google Docs. Figma is a as I've been saying, it's a very good option. It will also help you with other aspects. So yeah, I think that you can stick to it. Uh, we use AWS. Again, as I said, as students, you can go onto the website, AWS website, and just register for free. And as students, you have a lot of power. The reason why they also encourage you to do that is they're going to have a lifelong customer, right? If you are going to adopt AWS right now, it is fairly difficult for you to shift to any other again infrastructure as a service tool, right? So we have Azure, we have GCP, we have Oracle, IBM. Everything has a cloud, but very few of them is what we will remember. And I personally like AWS than Azure because we started our journey with that. All right. So again, we use something called Bitbucket. How many of you guys are aware of Bitbucket or or no? Okay. GitHub. Okay. How many of you guys are programmers?
Programs.
Okay. All right. So
They are
uh,
just second semester done and they're moving to their respective fields now in third semester.
oh, okay,
So,
okay, got it, got it. I think, guys, whatever questions I'm asking, if you are able to, I think this, because this session is getting recorded, make that as a question that you will want to answer. Okay. Uh, One of the things you need to do if you are thinking about uh, bringing something into life, that is an idea into an actual product that people are able to use, you have to have certain skills. You're either very good at creating mock-ups and visualizing what you are doing, what you are going to do, or you have to be on the other side where you are actually coding and building the functionality behind the scenes, right? How many of you guys have understanding of what's the three-tier architecture?
Sir,
Three-tier architecture. We sometimes call it tier, but it's a three-tier architecture. Let's say. How many of you are aware of it?
no, no answer.
Okay. Not even once behind. Somebody raise their hands. Okay. Three-tier architecture is basically, again, guys, write it down when you're looking at this again. I mean, it's a fundamental concept that you need to understand about how an application will work. Okay. It's good that you are making a mock-up for the front end. It's good you're doing all of that, but uh, an application consists mainly of three tiers. Okay, the first tier is the front end, that is what you are creating using Figma, etc. The second is where the business logic or the logic, you'll have to be able to create a application logic there. Okay, so you know what you want to create, and then you have to break it down into how that is going to work, right? How many of you guys have heard about microservices and monoliths? Anybody? Okay, because again, yeah, and I'm not expecting you to hear this. I'm saying that out loud because you might be able to hear this recording again and probably search for it, right? Yeah. So the third tier is basically the data tier. That is what is AWS, right? So you are able to use the compute power or database for storage, everything you are able to use. That is the third tier. So any application, so be it be let it be Uber, Instagram, name it. Whatever application you take, all of them will be, so they might be a 7 tier or a 10 tier, okay? Because you can do any number of tiers, because again, you can divide it up into different areas, but these three will always be there. Okay, so when you're understanding about, if you want to do all of this in cloud, and generally that is the way to go, you need to understand cloud computing very clearly. When you're trying to build something or even have a conceptual idea, you need to understand what is a 3 tier architecture. And when you're getting inside and trying to build stuff, you need to understand why do you have to create services, microservices they are called. And then you also, if you are able to compare that with monolith, then you'll talk about different styles of implementation methodologies called waterfall method or agile methodology, right? So again, I know this is a lot of things to download, but I'm really confident that because you're here, you have the right mentors with you. I'm sure you will be informed about all of these later on. Okay. All right. Anybody wants a water break?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you for responding. But yeah, guys, again, I'm not trying to scare you guys. If I'm doing that, then yeah, that's not the right way. But I'm trying to tell you that if you are in this area, I mean, when I was in my college day or in my engineering, uh, I mean, I would never have thought about knowing all this. And if I had a mentor who's able to tell me all this right away, or like you have, I think that's going to be an amazing journey for you. You're going to reach to where I am reached, where I am about 10 years earlier. Okay, so that is actually pretty good. You are saving 10 years, 10 years of your life, right? So you can hear better, you can, yeah, sleep better, or yeah, you can sleep better anyways. So I'm going to show you now how our application right now looks. Okay, I know I'm chopping this up with different things, but right now, please, I mean, the next time I guess it'll be much collated. Okay, so I hope this is making sense to you, right? The structure in which I'm going. All right, so this is how our existing application looks like today. If you see, the ideation was not really much different. This is what I wanted to show you. Make sense, guys?
Yes,
So
sir.
the ideation, yeah, the ideation and this one is not really very different. This is similar, right? So similarly, if you see this, this is our application. We were actually thinking about how to visualize this, right? Like show all the issues or all the tools or high priority issues, etc. Right? So we were able to do that in this way. Again, obviously there is a huge difference. Uh, and then there are also other uh, visualizations that we added. Yeah. All right. So all right. So coming back to the overall concept on how you are thinking about uh, moving your product or having a product uh, clear digital prototype created, you need to first understand where the gaps are. Okay. And identify basically the scope of what you're trying to do. Okay. So that's what I would want to talk about as part of the overall concept. But feel free to ask any questions right now, and we'll go and I'll talk about what are the end product we have and what are the services we're providing right now. Sorry.
So how does your normally your application works?
So that's a very very, I can stay with you for a whole hour, I guess. So it's very simple. What's your name? The white.
Ashwin, right?
Sorry,
Ashwin.
Ashrit.
Ashwin.
Ashrit. Should have been some easier name, I would remember, but okay, Ashrit. All right. So uh, how we function is we integrate with your cloud account. pull your metadata and process it. That's all.
Okay.
All right. So we visualize it for you. Yeah, that's basically what we are doing. And the business logic or the application tier, I'm not telling you. I'm just telling you the front end how it is coming up, right? And then there will be the behind the scenes. What is there is a scan engine we have at the back end that looks at your configuration, validates it with an existing what should be the configuration, and gives you a result that yes it is right or no it's not, and then give like a red and a blue perspective. I could actually show you the tool quickly. Do we Sumesh, do we have time, Sumesh?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, the 20 minutes.
That will be great. Yeah. Again, uh, what we want to do is think about a problem and then construct the solution one at a time, or uh, one part at a time, right? So let me quickly show you that. That will be useful for you. All right. So this is our SaaS-based platform that we created. Again, as I said, this is I feel this could be much better visually. Uh, yeah, we are definitely working towards that. We have a lot of other products coming, so that's why we're not really concentrating on the visual aspect right now. So if you see here, uh, I'm able to add my cloud accounts. It could be Azure accounts as well. Okay. Once I'm creating a trust relationship with them with that particular account, I'm able to pull that data, process it, and then tell them that hey, these are the violations you have. Okay. So if you remember what I said initially about what is the problem we wanted to solve was in cloud everything is volatile. Things get created and destroyed very very quickly. This is not like a physical server where a server has to be for provisioning. They call it provisioning, right? So something is established, it's called provisioning. A server provisioning would take anywhere between 2 to 3 months. Right now, you can have any capability machine within minutes, right? Again, you can turn it off, turn it on, pay for how much you turn it on for, right? So that kind of a scalability, that kind of a capability right now in the cloud is actually helping out a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people who are trying to solve a problem. Yeah. All right. So anything else?
Questions? No.
Any other questions? Okay. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Let me round this up with. All right. So, initially I spoke about several. Again, I'll only take a couple of them. I feel what are the most effective ones that feel is solving some issues. Is We have set up at the back end. We have set up something called a regular scan where every 12 hours it will automatically trigger a scan. Okay, so your cloud environment is added to our environment or added to our iCompass tool, and then we are scanning your infrastructure, right? So this continuously scanning is going to give up some or the other information. If somebody is creating something new, it will validate that new asset with whatever is going to be the check, right? So again, without going into even more details, what we are trying to say is one of the main issues we have had was uh, when was an asset getting created, when is it getting destroyed. That is going to get tracked very very clearly right now. Okay, that's a very very important. We feel it's a very important thing to be solved. Okay, at least in the operational area. Okay, and another important thing that we are trying to solve is cost saving in the cloud. Right, again, we have something running at the back end that actually creates a report in terms of how much you can save, right, in the cloud. I don't want to get into deeper into what is a compliance. I don't think you guys completely have that understanding. But yeah, we are doing a lot of things in the compliance area, like audit. Compliance always involves auditors. So yeah, we are working with auditors, created an auditor platform. So again, all of this is a incremental steps that we have taken to get into a place where the final product is what you just saw. Right. So the overall goal that we had was to make sure that when you are a small company, the possibility that you have a security specialist, a compliance analyst, or a cloud architect, having all three is going to be very difficult, right? So that is where we are automating these security and compliance aspects, not everything, right? The most important ones, let's say. We are trying to automate them so that you, as startup, will have an easier way forward, right? So whenever they are, let's say, utilizing our product, they would know where their security posture is, right? And that's a huge power. That's very, very. I mean, I could say that not a lot of companies who are startups can actually say that they are completely compliant or say that they are secure, right? Because they don't know if all their assets are secure, right? I know that this this discussion went a lot in terms of what we did, and but yeah, I would love to talk more about if anybody wants to. Uh, do we still have time, Somesh?
No, we have till one.
Okay, I am not looking at my watch because when I have fun, I don't look at my watch. But I
Only
see that
6 minutes. Yeah.
I see that others are so not a lot of fun. So guys, again, I'm giving you another opportunity. Okay, if you have thought about a tool, something that you are planning to uh, do a like a prototyping of a particular concept, digital, that's what we are doing here, right? You are thinking about something and then creating a digital prototype of it, right? So anybody who's thinking about an idea, we can actually run through how you can probably use the same steps that we use and maybe solve that problem.
We have few questions from the students. They wanted to
Sure.
try to understand. Uh, they just want to know. Okay,
I think there are a couple of questions that were shared. I can actually talk
when do
about.
we know the prototype we do is failing? That's one of the questions the students have asked us.
Sure, sure. So when do you know or when do you think a prototyping will is failing is you need to have an architect who's understanding what is going to happen or how the uh, what you're trying to build, right? You need to understand there are three key people that exist in the whole when you are trying to do this the digital prototyping. One, a person who knows the development aspect of things, right? So he's able to create a solution. A problem is there, he's able to create a solution using multiple tools. Okay, that is a an architect, a technical architect. Okay. Two, there has to be another person who has the product knowledge. He has to clearly see how the product should work. Okay. So the third guy is the in the operational area. Even if all of this is done, they need to know what kind of operations that it will be involved, right? What are the things that will be involved? Okay. So uh, you will know that your prototype is failing if you're not constantly sitting and all of you guys are agreement to do one specific thing. Okay, all of you have to uh, focus on, or when I say all of you, people who are working on that particular project, they have to focus on, all of you have to focus on getting the same thing done, right? So regular meetings are not happening. If your guys are not coordinating, communicating with each other, and not having reviews, then that definitely tells us that the prototyping is failing, right?
Yeah, yes, Ravi. And there is one more that I have shared is like for a software-based product, what can be an ideal time to spend on the prototyping phase?
I didn't hear that question. Let me think again.
Yeah, for a software-based product,
Okay.
what can be an ideal time to
Yeah.
spend on prototyping phase?
Right. Right. So again, as I said, in this, even in this specific room, you have a lot of time. You have a lot of people to be able to give you feedback, right? So I would say a lot of initially a lot of time. Your time should be on the boards, uh, doing the sketching part, ideation part, right? How it looks like is not really, don't really think about that too much. But how one of the things you'll have to understand is how are you going to solve that problem right now, right? So that's why I was actually asking for an example. So if you had given me an example, we could probably tinker that into understanding how to solve that first, right? Once you solve that manually, how are you going to automate that using your development team or the guy who is able to write the code? He has to have a logic to develop that into a way where you guys understand about API calls. Okay, so this is another topic you need to try to understand. So there are so many products right now that are giving their capabilities for free. They're just asking you to use their capabilities. And the way they are doing that is they are giving you API, they are giving you some APIs where you can actually use those APIs. Okay. So you are able to, you don't have to build everything right from scratch. You may be able to just utilize that, let's say, gather that details and then use that final result to do something else. Right. So if you are building your architecture well, so that is for a software, you understand your three tiers clearly, you're setting up that data flow properly, and you're architecting your initial digital initial thought process. uh, you need to spend a lot of time there. So I don't have a number of hours. It depends on how smart you are, who you are talking to, right? So yeah, I mean, initially that is the only thing you should be thinking about. Don't think about optimizing it first. Okay. My CEO, JP, he always talks about uh, the minimum viable product. Okay. So the example is, let's say you have a car, right? What is the minimum thing you need to build for the car to first roll? What do you think? The tires and the structure, right? Now the car is rolling, right? So now that becomes the MVP one. So this is exactly how you have to think about your product. You have to think about your product as a minimum, whatever you can use minimally to be able to, yeah, use that product. Okay, make sense, kind of.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah, the last question.
sure.
They have any quick pointers on the do and don'ts while building a digital prototype?
Okay, do's and don'ts.
Yes.
Don't procrastinate. Put your ideas on the paper, right? Whatever idea that could be, you feel it is bad, not useful, useful, put it on. uh, get to your use cases, talk to people, uh, think about how that will help. So yeah, create use cases or talk to people. That's what is a do. Don't procrastinate, don't think about a problem, and because what you might be thinking about a particular concept, it might be different for the other person because he's not looking at the same problem in a solution, right? So other things, I guess, again, have a good basic understanding of architecture and a clear goal in mind, right? So the do's could be have a clear goal in mind, uh, and talk to people. That's already done. I mean, create use cases, and yeah, that's kind of all I'm able to get right now. But yeah, maybe something I can share later on.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Ravi, for the wonderful
Okay,
insights and wonderful session. And we will collect some more questions from the students and we'll share it with you.
surely, surely, yeah,
Okay. We would like, on behalf of Comedkares, we thank you for having a wonderful session with us today. And
sure.
definitely, there would be some learning points from our students, and we would definitely share insights about the sessions as well as the Q&A with you so that we can clear it whatever the doubts the students have after going through this recording once again. Okay. Thank you so much for your time and having a wonderful session with us.
All right. All right. Really appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for hearing me out for an hour. I know it's very, very difficult. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.